Elections for Venezuela's National Assembly are going to be held on December 6th. They will appoint parliamentary members for the term starting from 2021 to 2026. This will be the 25th electoral process in 20 years of the Bolivarian Revolution. These elections come in a period of turmoil, which has only worsened under the COVID-19 pandemic. For the people of Venezuela, these elections will determine a possible return to stability and the future of their country. This turmoil in Venezuela is political, social, and economic, a direct result of U.S. intervention in the country. For many years, Venezuela has been battling U.S.-led imperial powers and the criminal blockade imposed by them. This blockade is directly responsible for the loss of tens of thousands of lives. It has cut off essential supplies, including food and medicine. It has shattered the Venezuelan economy. This blockade is one of the many attempts to strangle the Bolivarian project, which has been under attack since its conception under Hugo Chavez 20 years ago. This political process has directly confronted imperialist interests, pushing for sovereign control of Venezuelan resources in order to distribute the benefits among the people. Bolivarian Venezuela has confronted U.S. imperialist interests and, as such, become a target of its attacks, ranging from coups d'etats to financing of the far-right opposition, assassination attempts of the president, the imposition of a parallel government, and most recently in May 2020, the launching of a mercenary invasion. So, how does the National Assembly impact all of that? In 2015, the Washington-supported right wing won the elections and gained control over the legislative power. Since then, the National Assembly has been an essential instrument for the U.S. and the far-right opposition to achieve their goals. The legislative body has been used as a tool in attempts to overthrow the democratically elected government of Nicolás Maduro. With full support of the capitalist media, in January 2019, they projected their puppet, Juan Guaidó, a deputy, an elected president of the legislative body, as the interim president of Venezuela. Guaidó's interim presidency lacks any constitutional or legal basis. He has never been elected president of Venezuela, nor has he stood as a presidential candidate for any election. The notion of interim presidency does not exist in the Venezuelan constitution. During his time as president, Guaidó and his far-right faction of the opposition have been dedicated to implementing U.S. plans of regime change to take down Maduro, going so far as to work against the interests and well-being of the people to achieve their political goals. They support the economic and financial blockade of the country, have called for foreign military interventions, have squandered Venezuelan national assets abroad, and have fomented political, social, and economic destabilization. So it is fundamental for the Venezuelan people to recover the democratic character of the National Assembly. This very important institution cannot continue to be a Trojan horse of the United States inside Venezuela. It is also an important battle to counteract the idea that the United States has been promoting across the world, that there are two governments and that the deputy, Juan Guaidó, is authorized by law in the current National Assembly to be interim president. The Venezuelan people will be voting so that the parliament can once again be the center of political debate among the diverse forces that reflect the plurality of the country. It can carry out its functions in compliance with the Constitution and respecting national sovereignty. It is likely that once again, the U.S. will attempt to portray the electoral process as fraudulent and rigged in order to intervene. However, the electoral system in place for these elections is exactly the same that has attributed resounding victories to both Chavismo and the opposition in previous electoral processes. The 2015 parliamentary elections, in which the opposition won a majority, were held with the same rules and protocols. In these elections, 20 million Venezuelans will go to the polls to elect the representatives of the National Assembly for the period 2021 to 2026. More than 14,000 candidates from a total of 107 political parties will compete for 277 parliamentary seats. Of the 107 parties participating, 98 are opposition. In these elections, the destiny of the Bolivarian Revolution, the Venezuelan people, and the progressive regional project is at stake. The electoral process will recognize the will of the people. It remains to be seen if the imperial powers will do the same.